Hi everyone, welcome to our second Sewing for Baby video series. I'm Lisa from Pink Hollybush Designs, where we talk all things sewing and smocking. And today I am going to show you how to take our rosebud pattern, which was designed for a little girl, but how to take that pattern and use it to make an adorable either baby day gown or a baby bunting that is appropriate for either a little boy or a little girl. So let's get started. So first up, in the links below, you will find the link for the rosebud pattern. You'll also find the link for the free bunting pattern piece and to a chart that gives the dimensions to cut the skirts for the pattern. In order to make rosebud as a day gown or a bunting, all we need to do is cut the skirts longer. And so I've given you a chart that gives the length for each of the sizes. Now you'll notice in that chart that sizes newborn through 12 months are longer than the skirt lengths for sizes 18 months and 2 years. And that is not a mistake. I am assuming that newborn through 12 months is a baby who is not walking, and therefore it's a day gown that is longer than the length of the feet to keep those little feet nice and warm in either the bunting or covered by the day gown. But if you want to make a size 18 months or 2 years, at that point I'm assuming that we might have a toddling baby, and therefore it is ankle length, so that you could make this pattern as a nightgown rather than a day gown or a bunting. Now before I show you the tutorial, unfortunately I do not have a picture of the day gown. We had a little technical difficulties and all the videos for this got deleted. Don't we just love technology sometimes? So I'm redoing this using a sample so I can show you how to do the bunting. But for the day gown, I don't have time to get a whole nother one made before I promise this video would be up. So with the day gown, there is no change at all to the pattern other than just cutting the skirts at the longer lengths that I've given you. Otherwise, you make the pattern exactly the same. So really all you're doing is making a longer version of rosebud. Now, if you want it for a little boy, because both day gowns are used for both girls and boys, then the simple thing to do is what I did, and you'll see in the bunting, I've used the tailored sleeve. And I've left off the optional ruffle. So it just, I think the cute little ducky one that I ended up with, and which I don't have anymore because I've already given it away, I actually made that for a couple that chose not to find out the sex of the baby before the baby was born, and so I made that little outfit so they could have it regardless of whether they had a girl or a boy, and they'd have something cute and warm and cozy for the baby. So let's dive into the tutorial now, and I'll show you just the changes you need to make and how you turn it into a bunting if you would like to do that. So for the bunting, the one change we're going to make is you're not going to turn the button band back and sew across here as the pattern directs. Instead, at the bottom of the gown, you're just going to overlap the two button bands, line up the edges. I'm going to put a pin in there. I'm going to go to my sewing machine and I'm just going to baste right across here in the seam allowance. Then I'm going to run 2 long gathering stitches all around the bottom of the gown at 1/4 inch away from the edge and 5/8 away from the edge. Right, so I have my bunting pattern piece, and I've marked all 4 notches on the wrong side of the piece. Here's the 4th one. And I've done those rows of gathering stitches. I've turned the bunting inside out. And now what I'm going to do is just pin these together, right sides together, matching my notches. Okay. And this is going to go so this is the front and the back and the sides. Okay. And then I'm going to pull up my gathering threads in between to just gather the bottom of the bunting all together. Okay, just like that, and I'm going to do that for all 4 sections. So here's my bunting bottom pinned to the gown, and now I'm going to go to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew around this with the 3/8 seam allowance, and then I'm going to serge it. I prefer not to do it directly on the serger because, one, I want to make sure that I get these gathers nice as I'm doing it, but also just the shape of going around here and these curves. I just find I have better control on the machine, and I'd rather do it first there and then just run it through the serger. So there's the finished inside of the bunting, and if we turn it right side out, you can see there it is at the bottom. And this would be gathered up to the top, and that's going to keep the baby's feet all nice and warm and comfy, and then the bunting can just be opened up to change the baby with the snaps or buttons that are down the front. I hope you've enjoyed this sewing tutorial. If you did, make sure to check out our Sewing with Baby video playlist. There's so many other free patterns and ideas of quick and easy gifts to sew for an adorable new baby. Happy sewing!